About 7 weeks ago now, I bought my 2009 Buick. The car came with an XM radio, and because of a new purchase, I received a free 3-month trial subscription. So I have taken that opportunity to listen to music maybe I normally would not have listened to in the car. On Monday morning, I was driving to Bethany Lutheran and had a song come on the radio called Fearless by the Goo Goo Dolls. Now, to be honest, when I first heard the song, I thought I was listening to the 90s on 9. I remember listening to some of their music shortly after I graduated from college. I had to look it up, but their most popular song was Iris, that soared to number 1 on 1998. Anyways, when I heard the song, I did not know if it was old or new. It was released about a year ago and has recently become an anthem of sort for COVID-19 and the death of George Floyd. I showed the video at Bethany and referenced it at Bethany-Elim, and I'm going to have it in the email and in the YouTube video description so you could watch it if you so choose. If you are courageous enough, I encourage you to go and watch the video. Goo Goo Doll frontman Johnny wrote Fearless as kind of a reflective meditation about just having the courage to truly be yourselves. He shares that, in essence, it is a song to his daughter. He wanted her to know that sometimes being yourself stinks. And that's a little bit of a hard truth. And not going along with the crowd can get lonely. But you've got to be brave and know that you are right. Whatever way you are, that's the way it's supposed to be. So as I dug into the scriptures for today, the words of the song stayed with me, especially these lines. We're living in a world unfair. We're living in a world so scared. I'm going to be fearless. Fearless. Then the follow-up lines. I can't be by myself if I'm hiding. And if I'm not living, I'm dying. Our readings today have a lot to unpack, and Fearless can be an anthem to the readings and to our life. Jonah learned by experience. Hard knocks can do that to you, right? He learned some of the following lessons. You cannot flee from God. God's mercy is relentless. We see Jonah has many emotions. Some of those emotions are not good emotions. At times, we see his anger erupt. Throughout the story, though, we see a God who saves and forgives. We need to remember that as we journey through the world that seems to be unjust and unfair, I would love to encourage you to engage with the Psalms more and see what you can see and learn. Our psalm today allows us to praise a God who is bigger than our selfishness, bigger than our anger, bigger than our division between people, and big enough for all that God has made. For me, in the psalm, division between people stood out to me greatly. And this was brought to light in the Philippians passage, where Paul shared that following Christ is grounded in koinonia, the gathering of the disciples, working out new ways of living. They were doing this side by side. We need to be involved in one another's lives, and we need to be in community together. And it is tough to do that at times at the present time. Paul's words were for all, but especially for the marginalized folks in the greater community. We need to take time to sympathize with individuals who are in their sorrows, afflictions, infirmities. To me, here is the biggest. We need to be willing to bear them up when without our help, they would be liable to sink under their burdens. We, the people of God, need to be showing love, showing compassion, and showing solidarity. This past week, we unfortunately did not participate, but there are many ELCA congregations across the nation who participated in God's Work Our Hands Sunday. They showed love in various ways. I enjoyed seeing their pictures and hearing their stories. I want us as congregations and a parish to hit pause and think of ways that we can make a difference. In the crazy world that we are living in, we must realize and remember that our expressions of love are reminders of dignity, worth, and humanity. If you cannot tell, this week I am traveling through all four of our texts. And here we land in Matthew, our gospel text. This story, in my opinion, is really Jesus speaking to the disciples. It is a harsh reminder that there is no justice, no kingdom of heaven when we end up alone in the world. I feel that he is trying to get them, the disciples, to understand the reality of his impending death. The kingdom is open to all and their responsibility that they need to live out. Today I attempted to fly through all the four passages so the sermon would not be that long. Each of the stories share a concern for suffering, despair, gratitude. The interesting thing to me is that each of these stories connect to these themes in a different manner. And the difference relies in the person, action, and reflection of the actors in the story. So I want to conclude on a paragraph that I read from Stanley Saunders and just let it sit with you as we depart. We should also question a corresponding vilification of the workers. They might indeed have accepted their pay and gone home happy that everyone got what they needed to make it another day. But few of us would be happy in a system of this so-called justice. We shape our identities and our sense of worth by constantly comparing and contrasting ourselves with others. We want fairness and equality when it serves our interests, but not if that means that we all get the same prize in the end. Where is the reward in that? Regardless of what they were paid, all the workers went home, seeing more clearly that the vast gulf existed between the landowner and themselves. They have gotten paid, but the landowner has now taken their dignity and whatever vestiges of power they might once have possessed. They will be back in the marketplace again tomorrow looking for work. Nothing has changed, but the self-respect they have riched away. Friends, let us be fearless. Let us go out and show God's love, God's grace, and God's mercy to everyone we come in contact with. Amen.